Ask the Mayor on KWBE with Beatrice Mayor Stanworth. If you have a question for the mayor today on city business, give us a call at 402-228-5923. Good morning, Mayor.
Morning, Doug.
Rain may be on the way.
I hope so.
Look like rain-snow mix, maybe.
Well, we can certainly use it, and we need more of it than just a few days forecast of it. We need a lot of it. That creates an issue for the city in that we've had quite a few water main breaks, and a lot of it is because it's dry, and that creates a lot of cracks in the soil, and there's a lot of shifting that's going on right now. If we had some copious rains, it would really solve that problem, especially going into the wintertime, because the freeze-thaw is accentuated by the dry conditions. So we've had several water main breaks, getting them fixed all right, but probably expecting some more.
You know, the other problem that's been evident lately, of course, is rural fires, as dry as it's been. And I know recently there was an observance of First Responders Day, and you know, you really got to pass out a big thanks to not only the fire units, but the dispatchers, because they have been extremely busy on these fires. If you just listen to the communications that are going on back and forth. For instance, yesterday, a fire lasting probably 4 hours before it brought totally under control, and firefighters are still there this morning. And of course, the work they do is critical, and the communication that's needed is critical.
It's kind of interesting that some of the fire, according to the State Fire Marshal Office, if it's in a CRP ground area, some of that travels underneath the ground. It follows the roots system and can flare up just about anywhere. So it's something that has to be monitored on a regular basis, especially when we have 40, 50-mile-an-hour winds.
Pushing sparks around from hot spots gets to be a dangerous thing this time of year. Could use about 2 or 3 inches of rain right now to kind of
going to hold you to it.
Douse everything down. Well, it looks like tonight, maybe tomorrow too, so that'll be a good idea. Downtown, 403 Court Street, a lot of progress there. The front of the building is down, getting closer to when all the rubble's hauled out of there.
I think the front is completely demolished now, and quite a bit of debris still in the basement of the structure, and they have a backhoe in there, and certainly will take all of that, as much of it as they possibly can, out, and then bring in fill dirt to complete the job.
Taking maybe just a little bit longer than expected. I think they were aiming 30, 45 days, and they'll probably be a little bit beyond that, I imagine.
Probably a little beyond it. They were very, very careful so that they did not compromise the two buildings adjoining. And those two buildings had to be shored up just in case there would be some type of a compromise. And so they were beginning processes. They were just using a crowbar, and they were using a hammer, just taking brick by brick. So it was a really, really slow process to begin with. Once they got a little further and got into an area where the side buildings were a little more stable, they were able to go a little more aggressively.
When that's completely done, it's all cleaned out, leveled out, what happens to that space, do you think?
Good question. The city doesn't own it. We condemned the building just because of a public safety issue. The owner of the building still is the owner of the building. Will we at some point in time try to acquire that? Can't tell you that. Don't know. But at this point, there are no plans for it.
I see. Okay. I didn't get a chance to really stop or look at it, but I did, as kind of driving by the other day, a lot of things going on elsewhere yesterday, but a building down the street to the east there, right next to your former employer at Pinnacle Bank there, a lot of work going on at the former JCPenney building there.
They are not letting any grass grow underneath their feet. They are moving really, really quickly. And I think that they will have that building completely gutted within the week. They have been hauling debris out of there on a regular basis, and large amounts of debris on a regular basis. And within a week, I think that building will be completely gutted.
There was some discussion of what that's going to be used for in the future. Was that kind of a retail space likely thing, or as a possibility?
That is a possibility. I can't tell you for sure, because the owners, those who are going to own the building eventually, are planning different things. And what I had heard is that it would be retail space, and I think they have some folks in mind.
The other thing right across the street at the Paddock Kensington Hotel, which was vacated earlier this year by AgeMark, which had operated the senior living establishment there. What's the update on that?
Well, the city is still interested in the possibility of acquiring that building. And we want some reassurance that the building is in good shape, both structurally and mechanically. And so the city council did approve the hiring of an engineer firm to come in and give us their opinion as to what the quality of that building is, what the HVAC systems, what kind of condition the HVAC systems is in, the elevator that serves the upper floors. They're going to be here on November 10th, and they're going to do their assessment, give that assessment back to us, and then we make our decision from there.
All right. Open house event coming up tonight. I think it's between 5 and 7 at the Stone Hollow Brewery. You have a class of Kansas State University students in design and I think architecture. They've been doing kind of a survey of the community regarding one of the questions when the new elementary school is built. You have the leftover elementary buildings, which won't be used by educators anymore, but you also have the Dempster site. You also have other vacant buildings. Tell us what that group of students has kind of been working on and what to expect tonight, maybe.
Well, I think their charge was to do a survey of these buildings, to also recognize the neighborhoods that are around these buildings, and go back to their class and come up with best solutions on how best to utilize the space, whether or not you can utilize the buildings again, or whether or not those buildings need to be demolished, and those that are in residential areas, that property be converted back to residential property as opposed to government property. And I think that is going to be some of the conversation that's going to be held tonight. They'll come up with their suggestions. I think the Jason Alexander and the school board and other members of the public are certainly invited to this to just hear what kind of creative ideas they can come up with.
Have you been given any kind of hint about or early information about what they've come up with? I'm thinking, say, maybe specifically with the Dempster building, because I know that's the big situation out there that's yet to be resolved, taking down that building, but you'll have a lot of property left over there.
And of course, I've been kind of in the dark about this, of what their suggestions are, so I guess we're going to learn tonight what they suggest. Not letting the cat out of the bag, apparently. But hopefully in that process, there is something that is workable for the school district and also for the community.
All right, that's 5 to 7 this evening at Stone Hollow Brewery. I think that's kind of one of those things where you can drop by anytime you want, just kind of a
that's correct
type thing. So,
that's correct.
Okay. Before I take a break here, event coming up this weekend. I think you've been on the winning team before, Governor's Pheasant.
A couple of times.
Yeah. Are you defending a title this year?
We are, again.
Again. How does that work out? You just better shooters than everybody, or what's the deal?
I have no idea. Slower birds.
Yeah, really. So that's this Saturday. You're kind of around the region, kind of similar to the
It begins tomorrow. Tomorrow afternoon.
Okay.
There's an event out at the Gun Club, and then there is an event at Vintage Venue in the evening, and there'll be several guests there. The governor is planning on being here, and the governor has hunted, I think, in all of the hunts since he has been governor, which is kind of nice because he's the only governor that has participated in the actual hunt. Since we've been holding this event, and it's not my event, it's Main Street's event, and Councilman Rick Claybaugh, who has always been at the forefront of putting this event together. I think we have 13, 14 teams coming back again this year, and people come from all over the country. So it's kind of fun to get reacquainted with some folks, and I think there's a couple of new teams this year.
I see. This will be the governor's last one as governor because he's term limited out. So
he's still invited to come back.
Last chance to win a title here over the weekend.
Right.
Okay. 19 before 9 o'clock here on KWBE and Ask the Mayor. We're back on Ask the Mayor with Beatrice Mayor Stan Worth today. Well, I mentioned at the top of the show that there is just a slight chance of maybe some snow showers mixing in with the rain. That does bring up the idea that it's not far away, if it hasn't been already, preparation time for snow removal.
Don't know that I want to talk about that, Doug.
Don't know that I want to either. Maybe we should get Jason in here.
Jason would be the one to talk about that. I think these guys are going to be as prepared as anything, just like they always do year after year. They will, at a point in time during the course of the year, long before it snows, is put the snow blades on. We've got plenty of salt in our salt barn area, and some of the liquid ice melt. So we're in good shape there. Didn't use much last year.
Yeah, it was pretty mild.
So we've got a pretty good supply. I have no idea what the Farmer's Almanac is telling us, but I think that again. We're going to be in good shape.
I couldn't remember if there was a kind of a shelf life on that
there is
ice melt, but I think, what if you stir it up again, they're still usable? I don't know.
Or mix it with some more. I think there is a shelf life on it, but if we've got some left over, we're going to use it.
And actually, beyond this weekend with the rain, next week says 60s, and so who knows?
They're talking about some snow showers, and it's just going to be that.
Yeah. We might still have 3-4 weeks of almost summer-like weather or early fall weather.
I'm on board with that.
Yep, as long as we can just keep knocking off a week here and there and maybe picking up a rain shower every once in a while, that'd be a good idea. Those crews, too, we were talking about, public safety people and their dedication. Those crews, too, because when there's a bad storm, I mean, they're up at all hours of the day and they're running shifts through the night and everything, so they do a great job.
And try to rotate them in and out so that, safety is always a top priority. And you can't have somebody working 14, 16, 18 hours and expect them to not run into a car or something like that. So you've got to have those that are helping remove the snow off the city streets. Plenty of time to recover and go through shifts.
Yeah. Speaking of fall and winter, I noticed on your website that bathrooms are closed at city parks now, so you better make plans if you're going out walking.
Make plans ahead of time. And that's, it's that time of the year when you don't want to risk a situation where you're going to have frozen pipes. So at some point in time, you just have to say, Got to shut them off.
The other thing, and I probably would have driven by this, just kind of reading notes here on your Facebook page, city Facebook page yesterday, did some tree planting out at Hannibal Park and the Pioneer Trail with Public Properties Department, and I think some Exmark employees too. So they do a lot. I know they just recently donated 3 mowers to entities. They helped with a Wilbur project by a lake over there, and here they're planting trees too. So pretty
great
amazing.
Community partner.
Yeah,
I don't know what we'd do without them.
Yeah, it's kind of nice to see people like that go beyond their daily business and say, hey, we're going to dedicate some people to this.
Not only a great community partner, but one of the area's largest employers.
Yeah.
And that's big because they touch the lives of a lot of families.
I missed the Board of Public Works meeting yesterday. Were you there?
I was.
Anything out of there as far as I know one of the things talked about was the energy efficiency program.
Go Green, Save Green program. We had earmarked or put into the fund about $30,000 just to see how it would go, and people could apply for it for energy efficient things like whether you do geothermal or whether you do an energy efficient furnace. And lighting is also included into that category. Only about $14,000 was used this past year. The fund expired on September 30th, so we're going to regenerate that, start it over again, take what money we have left over, put it into that fund again, and ramp it up to $30,000. And again, hope that people apply. If you are thinking about upgrading your furnace, air conditioning, any kind of large lighting project, just make sure you ask the provider, whether or not it's the heating and air conditioning guys, or those that are putting in lighting for you, just ask them about if there are any incentive programs out there. They should know about them. If not, it's on our Facebook page.
The applications, do they come through city offices, or they go through the service center, or how does that
The applications are actually filled out by for instance, the HVAC provider.
I see. Okay.
And with the property owner's help. And then it's submitted, and that's how we go through the process.
Save a little money, make a little improvement there.
Absolutely.
So, yeah. Any update on the Lincoln Corridor project? We haven't talked about that for a while.
Haven't heard anything lately, Doug. We've got the study. We've got a few questions, I think, that we still want answered before we actually go to another public hearing to disclose what their findings are.
Mm-hmm. You also have the newer study just you entered into recently regarding Court Street corridor too. So, and that kind of also brings up the potential for the relocation of traffic again around the downtown
That is correct.
area. So,
and I think that has received some really renewed traction. I think that is certainly going to be a possibility. That study will be taken very seriously. What is going to be of the utmost concern is the funding of the project and how we're going to get it done. The Department of Transportation has indicated to us they have some funding available for us, but it's going to be minimal compared to what the total cost is going to be. So we're going to have to try to navigate through that system and figure out exactly how we can pay for that. But I think it's something that is warranted. I think that we're receiving public sentiment that it is warranted, and also from those that are downtown who have retail outlets.
I'm waiting for Beatrice's first roundabout, wherever that is.
You know, I was in Lincoln at a confirmation service last Sunday. Went up Yankee Hill, and I think I went through 10 of them, just going through on Yankee Hill Road.
They do work. They take a little getting used to, but
they work fabulously.
Yeah.
It does take a little bit of getting used to, but if you see a yield sign in front of you, slow down and look both ways. That's about all you have to do.
Yeah.
If you don't see a car, you keep going.
It takes out one set of traffic lights that you don't have to abide by anymore.
Exactly.
So, back with more on Ask the Mayor in just a moment. Back to conclude Ask the Mayor today with Beatrice Mayor Stan Worth. I had a question from a caller come in just a while ago. They wanted to know if you had thought about putting the house with the blue tarp on the front on East Court Street on the blighted area list.
That area is on the blighted area list.
It
is.
Yeah.
And but you know, people drive by that. I drive by it. I don't like it. They don't like it. But there isn't much we can do about it. It is attached to their personal property, and it's just a situation that just doesn't represent our community very well when you drive by it and you see a blue tarp tacked to the outside of it.
I think you've had more than one council member say you can't legislate pride or whatever.
Well, I think that's exactly right. But again, it's a situation where it's their personal property. It's no different than people putting plastic on their windows, and it just doesn't look very good. It serves a purpose, and apparently this is serving a purpose also.
All right. Recently at the Gage Area Growth Enterprise meeting, you were having some discussion regarding an option, whether to renew an option on 80 acres of property in the North Gage County Industrial Park. Had some discussion about whether or not that stays with N-Gage or that goes to the city. Ultimately, after some discussion, the city takes over that option, as I understand.
Yeah, N-Gage has signed that option already,
Okay.
and we are in the process of completing that transaction. We purchased the option from N-Gage, and it was about $2,000 to hold that land for a year's period of time at a set price range. And N-Gage doesn't have the money to buy that property. The city will do a bond, and we will own that property at that particular price set for the 80 acres. And it helps with the additional land that we need, that we feel we need for the Gage County Industrial Park. Right now we have about 20 acres remaining, so we're running out of some inventory. Matter of fact, on the City Council agenda Monday night is the sale of 2 more lots to Randy Kinney, Precise Fabrication, those 2 lots just to the north. So we're rapidly running out of space, and we don't want to miss an opportunity for an industry to come in, and we're saying, we can put you over there or put you over there. The prime lots are here, but we don't own them. So we felt it necessary that we have that 80 acres in our inventory.
On that 80 acres, are there any current prospects that would be bigger job creators for that property? Have you had any feelers on that land at all? Or?
There are several on the prospect list. Whether or not that spot is conducive for those prospects still remains to be seen. But what's nice about it is that there's paving on 2 sides of that tract of land. All of the infrastructure is there. When I talk about infrastructure, I'm talking about water, sewer, electricity. It's right across the street. So it's a pretty easy move from across the street to the new site for the utilities.
So if anybody builds there, it would not take a long time to hook everything up, and you're right there. And
absolutely, that's what makes that 80 acres pretty prime for the community.
Okay. Coming up on, of course, the winter season, as we've been talking about eventually, but still had some good weather lately. Have there been any city projects, whether it's street, water, sewer, electric, still in process at this time?
On the sewer side, we're in pretty good shape. Water side, they're putting in some water lines around the 22nd and Grant area, 20th to 22nd and Grant area. On the electrical side, there's a couple of feeder lines that are being completed. And so work is still progressing and will progress as the weather permits, but winding down on what projects we're going to do this year versus what projects we're going to do next year.
Okay. Have a council meeting coming up on Monday night, maybe just a couple of things to talk about there. The area of the old hospital near 10th and Arthur, I understand there's a move toward maybe building out the rest of that area?
Yeah, XL Development purchased that ground where the old hospital used to stand, and they have built single-family homes. They've built single senior living facilities there, and they've been now awarded some money to build some additional senior family living units on the remaining 3 lots that are there. The funds will come from the Department of Economic Development. They are the holder of the ARPA COVID funds, and XL Development applied for a grant through them and received it.
I remember the days when they were demolishing the old hospital there, and then you look at it now, it's a nice new use for that area.
It's a great use for it, and hopefully we can use that same vision with some of the school properties like Paddock Lane, like Lincoln School, what that could maybe evolve into. But it's going to take a developer to work with us and assist with the project.
Yeah, you look at a property like Paddock Lane, too, that covers a lot of ground there. I mean, there's a sizable amount of potential residential area there.
Certainly is.
Yeah. Another item, I think it's on the agenda, I'm not sure, but Chautauqua Park, there was an old feature there, many years
water
ago?
feature that was there. It's not on the agenda.
Oh, it's not.
It's
okay.
something that I think is kind of evolving. There are folks that are interested in seeing that waterfall that's near the Sertoma cabin come back to life. And the original group has kind of split up. Some of the members are still wanting to move forward with it. And so they are working with the Gage County Foundation, who has now agreed to allow the group to operate under their nonprofit status. And so they will go out and solicit contributions, and those contributions are tax deductible.
And we're talking about the area where you start kind of going around the curve there, and you see the rock formation or whatever.
I don't know that I've ever seen it in operation.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I have
I've been
either.
here a long time. But there's a group that wants to see that rejuvenated.
Okay. Mayor, thanks very much. We'll see you on Monday night.
Thanks, Doug.